as well. Whilst we were on the note of Yasir Qadhi, here was a video.
It's a question about, I think it's the male fashion question. It says, are fade haircuts allowed, and is wearing chain necklaces and rings haram for men?
Eric necklace.
That could have just been me. He could have just said Mufti Abu Layth.
Which is why I am not saying it is haram. I'm going to say the least that can be said is that you're opening up a door that is better to be shut at this stage. And I would not want men to start wearing jewelry that is still somewhat effeminate.
You nutty. Yasir Qadhi, seeing the necklace and the earring, and it's reminding him of the of the gentler sex.
Dajjal with a small d.
I genuinely don't understand these people who say that a necklace, or that's a snippet from his reply. In his reply, he goes on to say that I do recognize that in some parts of the world, like, I don't know why he says this. He says in North Africa, men wear necklaces, there it's masculine. But he says in America, it's still 50-50. It's not clear whether it's effeminate or not. I think Sheikh Yasir Qadhi is just hanging around too many gay bars. Because when men wear it generally, it's very clear. There's nothing effeminate about it. I mean, I don't know what he's on about. He's like, it makes them effeminate. Acha. It makes it, how does it, the shocking thing is, wearing a frock, like how, the Arab thobe today, wearing a frock, putting kuhl in your eyes, which a lot of the religious folk do, and walking around in sandals with a frock on. How is that not how is that not effeminate then? If anything, if you had a choice between saying, well, a guy with a fade haircut and a guy with a necklace, or you've got a guy in a frock and sandals and wearing kuhl. I mean, if anything, you would think, well, if I had to pick, I'd probably pick the frock and the eyeliner as trying to be effeminate, rather than saying a necklace. For God's sake, men have always worn necklaces. Men have always, for thousands of years, wore earrings. In some cultures, more than others. So I don't see why men have always worn bracelets, even in the Prophet's time. Why would the Quran be enticing us about the afterlife in the imagery, saying that people in Jannah having asawira min dhahab, having bracelets, yuhallona, that the men will be wearing bracelets of gold, unless it was a concept that men could relate to. Otherwise, that would be like telling men, oh yeah, in Jannah you can wear high heels made out of gold. I mean, most men would be thinking like, with that. This is when they turn up to Jannah and they're wearing high heels of gold. You turn up to Jannah and they're like, okay, you've got high heels of gold. And you're like, You're like, do I have to wear these high heels? यार कुछ mood सही नहीं बन रहा है यार कुछ. I pictured this Jannah something else. This is यार ये हो क्या रहा है? So that's exactly. So why would the Quran say unless they could identify with it? So the fact that they could identify, it's crazy. And this is my point when Yasir Qadhi was saying And this is a recent video he's released. So if he just said a couple of hours before in his video, and he released them, I think, or a day apart or something, saying, I'm a very academic person, Jay Smith and all these people are not academic, I do everything academically, thoroughly, and then he makes such a dumb response by saying, these things are still really kind of effeminate, I don't. And he says, well, look, I don't see politicians or CEOs wearing earrings. So, Islam prides itself on nobility. Yeah, but I want to say something. If that's the case, why is it that, you are taking your standards, of nobility and dignity from the middle class of the Western world? Why are your etiquettes of what is dignified coming from that to an elitist Western capitalistic culture of like what is, because you could say, what about the yogis of the East? You're not going to look to them. You're not looking to the yogis and the swamis or the sant, these kind of sadhu sants of the East. You're looking at CEOs. The example he gives is a CEO of a huge company wouldn't generally wear an earring. And you think, well, but what's Islam got to do with that? It's like, acha, yahan pe Islam ko ghusa do. The CEO of a company, wouldn't be Muslim anyway. So what is the example you're giving? Or he said these prime ministers of these countries wouldn't wear. So I find that incredibly fascinating, that when it suits you, these CEOs and politicians and parliamentarians all of a sudden become the benchmark of Islamic etiquette and adab. And then when it comes to your other things, oh no, tattoos, or when it comes to other things, it's haram. So if these CEOs do say certain things are fine, you'll say, yeah, but what do they know? They're not Muslim. So why is middle class or upper middle class kind of Western culture all of a sudden the benchmark for Islamic values? I'm not against, Western upper middle class culture, but I'm trying to say, how does it dictate Islam to us? Sure, it's a propriety issue. I get that. I'm not saying turn up to your meeting in Bermuda shorts. I'm not saying that. Every place has its propriety. And I get that. That's fine. You can say that. But why are you placing Islamic values on just what CEOs would do? And nowadays, a lot of CEOs are hip anyway. Some of them, they do. Some of these millionaire people do try to come out with all this kind of stuff. So, yeah, so I find it very hypocritical. That's all. I find it very, the double standards that these kind of, this is why, it annoys me when our beloved Yasir Qadhi says stuff like this, like all of a sudden the double standards in it. But yeah, so